I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I'm just trying to make sense of everything that's happened. I met Emily about 3 years ago. She's gorgeous, confident, and seemed perfect, at least at first. We got engaged about 6 months ago, right after a big family gathering, and everyone was happy. I thought we had a solid future ahead of us. We were planning our wedding, talking about kids, buying a house. Everything seemed to be falling into place. But lately, I started noticing weird little things. Emily's phone always kept her busy, and when I'd walk into the room, she'd quickly hide it or change the subject. She'd get defensive whenever I asked about her meetings or her plans. She'd say she's been stressed at work, or that she's just been busy catching up with friends. I figured she was just tired or maybe a little overwhelmed, but something about it didn't sit right. She also started dressing differently, more revealing, more flirtatious almost, and she'd wear these new perfumes I'd never smelled before. I saw her texting late at night, sometimes with her phone hidden under the pillow, and I'd catch her sneaking around to take calls when she thought I wasn't looking. I told myself I was overthinking, that every relationship has its rough patches, but deep down I knew something was wrong. I just didn't want to admit it. Then 2 weekends ago, I decided to go through her phone. I felt like I was losing my mind, like I had to see for myself. I wasn't snooping. Well, maybe I was, but I needed to know the truth. And what I found blew my mind. There were messages, really explicit messages between her and Mark, her best friend. They were talking about meeting at his apartment, about sneaking around during our engagement party. I saw her telling him she was bored, that she needed a distraction, that she wanted to feel alive again. And Mark, that bastard, was just as bad, promising her sex, saying he'd do anything to see her. I couldn't believe it. My wife, the woman I loved, was sleeping with her best friend behind my back during what was supposed to be one of the happiest nights of my life. That moment, looking at those texts, everything changed. My stomach dropped and I couldn't breathe. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I closed her phone and my mind spun with questions. How long has this been going on? When did I stop being enough? Why didn't she just tell me? I kept telling myself I'd confront her, but I was frozen. All I could do was stare at the screen, trying to process what I'd just seen. I didn't sleep that night. My mind kept going back to her, to the way she'd lied, the way she'd betrayed me with someone who's supposed to be my friend. It was like a sick joke, a betrayal so deep I couldn't believe I'd been blind to it for so long. I felt angry, hurt, and completely shattered all at once. The next day I couldn't even look at her the same way. We had plans to go out for breakfast, but I woke up with this heavy weight in my chest. I kept replaying everything I saw in her messages. Her words, her tone, the way she talked about Mark like he was some kind of escape, a secret she could keep hidden. I was furious but also incredibly hurt. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face for so long? I kept asking myself if I had missed signs, if I was just too blind or too stupid to see what was really going on. I decided I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I needed to confront her. I waited until she was in the kitchen making coffee, acting as if everything was normal. Then I just snapped. I told her I knew about her and Mark, that I'd seen the messages. Her reaction, classic Emily. She looked surprised, then quickly turned defensive. "You're overreacting," she said, rolling her eyes. "It's just sex, Jake. It doesn't mean anything. We're just friends. You're making a big deal out of nothing." Those words hit me like a punch to the stomach. She acted like it was some innocent thing, just sex, just a fling. But I knew better. I knew it was more than that. She kept lying, trying to downplay everything, saying she was bored, that Mark was just a distraction, that I shouldn't get all worked up over a little fun. She accused me of being paranoid, of not trusting her. I wanted to scream at her, to shake her and make her see how much she'd hurt me, but I just stood there trying to keep my composure. Inside, I was boiling with rage and heartbreak. How could she treat us like this? How could she lie so effortlessly? It was like she thought I was stupid, that I'd never find out, that I'd never know she'd been betraying me behind my back all this time. The thing was, I didn't want to believe she was this kind of person. I loved her. I still do, in some twisted way, but everything was falling apart. I felt so betrayed that I didn't even know who she was anymore. And as she kept lying, I realized I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I needed to figure out what I was going to do next. But right then, I just felt numb. My mind was racing. Anger, sadness, disappointment, all tangled up inside me. I didn't sleep that night either, just lying there, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever feel normal again or if I'd just be carrying this weight forever. After that confrontation, everything changed. I started looking at everything differently, her excuses, her fake smiles. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind, so naive. The trust I thought we had was shattered into 1,000 pieces. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I never saw the truth behind her lies. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized she'd been playing me from the start. Emily always knew how to hide her true self, how to make it seem like she was the perfect wife, the perfect woman. But beneath that, she was selfish, manipulative, and completely willing to cheat with her best friend. I decided I needed to get some space. I took a few days off work, packed a bag, and stayed at my brother's place. I couldn't be around her. Not yet. I needed to think, to breathe, to figure out what my next move was going to be. Every time I saw her face or heard her voice, it felt like a punch to the gut. I was angry, yes, but mostly I just felt numb. I kept replaying the entire night of the engagement party in my head, seeing her flirt with Mark, laughing with him, touching him, acting like I didn't matter. That was the moment. I realized I'd been nothing to her, just a backup plan while she chased some thrill, some secret thrill that she kept hidden from everyone. One thing I couldn't shake was the image of her lying to me, her words dripping with lies and fake sincerity. I'd catch her in little lies, too, about where she'd been, who she'd been with. She'd spin stories, make me doubt myself, but I knew the truth now. She didn't even bother denying it anymore. Her silence was her confession. I also found out she'd been meeting Mark, not just at his apartment, but sneaking around for months, probably ever since we got engaged. That's what hurts the most. The fact that she lied to me every single day, hiding her secret meetings, laughing behind my back, pretending to be innocent while she was screwing my best friend. I felt betrayed on a level I never knew existed. It's not just about cheating. It's about the lies, the deception, the way she thought she could get away with it. I kept asking myself, why? Why would she do this to me? Was I not enough? Did I mean nothing? The worst part is, I still loved her, or at least I thought I did. But now I was questioning everything. Maybe I loved who she pretended to be, not who she actually was. I wasn't sure if I could ever trust her again, and honestly, I wasn't sure I even wanted to. I felt so broken, so angry that I could barely breathe. But deep down, I knew I had to decide what to do, whether to fight for her or walk away for good. The days that followed were a blur. I stayed at my brother's place trying to piece everything together. Part of me was hoping she'd come to her senses, admit everything, and maybe, just maybe, we could somehow salvage what was left. But another part knew that wasn't going to happen. Emily had shown her true face now, bitchy, manipulative, completely indifferent to how much she'd hurt me. I couldn't keep pretending to be the naive guy she'd always painted me as. I saw through her lies, her fake tears, her defensive attitude. It was all just a show, a way to keep me confused and in the dark longer. One night I decided I couldn't keep hiding. I needed answers. Straight from her mouth. I went back home and waited until she was in the living room watching TV with that smug look on her face. I told her I knew everything, her reaction. She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and said, "God, you're so dramatic. You're acting like I cheated on you with the Pope or something. Relax. Mark's just my friend. We're not even sleeping together. You're overreacting as usual." That was her typical response: deny, dismiss, try to make me feel like I was crazy. But I wasn't about to fall for her bullshit anymore. I told her I'd seen the messages, I knew about her meetings at Mark's apartment, and I wasn't going to pretend I didn't. Her face reddened and she snapped back, "You're being paranoid. Mark's just a buddy and you're just insecure. Maybe if you weren't so jealous all the time, you'd see that I'm loyal, more loyal than you think." That was her way of twisting everything around, making me feel like I was the one with the problem, but I knew better. I knew she was lying, that she was lying right to my face. I asked her outright if she ever loved me. Her answer, a dismissive, bitchy smirk. "Love, please, I love myself more. I don't have time for these stupid questions. I'm not some girl who's gonna stay faithful just because I got engaged. You think you're the only one I ever wanted. Grow up, Jake. Life's complicated. That hurt more than anything. To hear her say she didn't even care about us anymore, that she was just using me as a backup, made my stomach turn. I felt like the ground was shifting beneath my feet. I started crying then, something I rarely do, and told her I deserved better than this. That I was done, that I was walking away. I didn't want to be with someone who lied, cheated, and treated me like I was nothing. But even as I said that, I knew this wasn't just about walking away. It was about finally accepting that the woman I loved, the woman I wanted to marry, had been pretending the whole time. And that realization hit hard. I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to trust again, or if I'd just be carrying this pain forever. But I knew I had to make a choice, stand up, and fight or leave everything behind. And honestly, I was tired of fighting. I just wanted the pain to stop. The decision didn't come easy. For days, I oscillated between anger and sadness, barely able to focus on anything else. Every time I thought about her, about Mark, about all the lies she'd told, I felt like I was drowning in a sea of betrayal. But eventually, I realized that staying wasn't an option anymore. I couldn't be with someone who thought cheating was just a joke, who lied to my face like I was stupid. I had to cut her out of my life, no matter how much it hurt. One morning, I packed what little I needed, clothes, a few personal things, and I left. I told her I was done, that I wasn't going to be her fool anymore. Her reaction, she scoffed, called me pathetic, and said I was overreacting again. Like her lying and sleeping with Mark was just a minor mistake. But I wasn't about to let her make me feel guilty for finally waking up. I wanted to scream at her, to tell her how much she destroyed us, but I kept my mouth shut. Instead, I just walked out feeling a strange mixture of relief and heartbreak. After I moved out, I started reevaluating everything. I got some therapy, talked to friends, and tried to process what happened. It was hard, really hard. I lost a lot of trust, not just in her, but in myself. How did I not see it coming? How could I have been so blind? But deep down, I knew I'd made the right choice. I couldn't keep living in the shadow of her lies, pretending everything was fine. I deserved better. We all do. What really hit me was realizing how selfish Emily had been. She didn't care about our relationship, about the vows she took, or even about me. She just wanted her secret meetings, her thrill, her independence from the truth. And Mark, he was just as guilty, her accomplice in betraying the person who loved her most. It's disgusting to think about that kind of betrayal happening right under my nose, during what should have been one of the happiest times of my life. But I guess that's what makes it so painful, how easily everything unraveled, how quickly the woman I thought I knew turned into someone I barely recognized. Now I'm trying to rebuild. I'm starting to trust myself again, to remind myself that I'm worth more than someone who cheats and lies. It's not easy and I'm still hurting, but I know I'll get through it. The lesson: never ignore the signs, never settle for someone who doesn't respect you. And most importantly, never let anyone make you feel like you're the crazy one when you see the truth with your own eyes. Because eventually, the truth always comes out. Looking back now, I realize how much this whole mess changed me. I thought I knew love, thought I knew her, but it turns out I was just holding on to an illusion. The trust I built up, the dreams we shared, all shattered in a matter of moments. It's humbling to see how someone you trusted implicitly can turn around and betray you so completely. But I also learned something about myself, how I can survive even the worst betrayal. I've come to accept that some people are just not meant to be in your life, no matter how much you wanted it to work. The funny thing is, I don't hate her. I do. Even feel anger anymore, just a kind of sadness for the person she was, someone who valued secrets and lies over honesty and loyalty. That's her loss, not mine. What I do know is that I'm stronger now, more aware of what I deserve. I've started focusing on myself, on healing, and on making sure I don't get caught in that trap again. I've lost a lot, but I gained clarity. I learned that real love isn't about hiding, sneaking around, or pretending everything's fine when it's not. If anything, I hope my story serves as a warning. Don't ignore the signs. Don't allow yourself to be blindsided just because you want things to work out. And never, ever let anyone make you feel like you're overreacting when your gut tells you something's wrong. Trust your instincts. People will lie and cheat, but your own sense of self-worth should never be compromised. You deserve honesty, loyalty, and respect always, so I'm moving on. It's not easy, and I'll probably carry some scars forever, but I'm finally free of the chaos. I don't wish her ill, but I won't pretend everything's okay either. I'll take the lessons learned and use them to build a better future. Because in the end, the truth may hurt, but the truth also sets you free. And honestly, that's the best gift I could ask for.